Greetings, salutations. Welcome to Friday, December 19th, 2025. We are 6 days away from Christmas, and I suppose that means we're about 13 days away from the end of the year, if that math holds, and it does. So 2026 is just around the corner, and it's finally settling in. Let's see what's going on. Man, it is so windy out there. It's like it was almost typhoon level wind this morning. And we had a lovely, urban living. Okay. So someone's got their car alarm. It's too sensitive. I don't know what it is, but it was going off for a couple hours. I mean, from like 5 a.m. And, boy, you just want to pull out your bazooka out of your closet and dust it off to just finish off the car. But thankfully, somebody called the police before I did, and they were able to get that taken care of. So little annoyances, but on balance, still a positive experience to be in the middle of the action. So glad about that. But it is windy, it's cold, it's rainy. It's the perfect put on slippers and make some hot chocolate and hunker down day. So I think it'll be highly productive, actually. Now, in terms of trivia, I found this interesting. On this day in 1871, Mark Twain received a patent for suspenders, of all things. So, I didn't know Mark Twain had a patent for suspenders. It must have been a very special type of suspender. I'm going to have to look into this, or maybe I won't. We'll have to see. Time is money, but I found that kind of interesting. Okay, let's get to it. So yesterday, I did my first in-studio recording for Amped. Very different experience than online, and but that's sort of a secondary point. It was so great. It was great to be there in person. And of course, the substance of the conversation was great, and my client is great. And, I prepared really well and wanted to try a couple things to take a different angle. So it wasn't a typical, tell me about your book. Who do you serve? That kind of thing. And we didn't do that. We had a really great discussion, and I think he was really pleased with it as I'm working with the files already and looking at some of the recording. It's great. But beyond all of that, what's fantastic for me is it's a reminder that it's important to make strategic choices and careful choices, etc. And at the same time, it's important to just do stuff. I've tried out many platforms that I don't really, like for example, social media platforms. I've created accounts and tried them out for a while, TikTok being one of them. And then I drop off and, it's okay. Because when I started doing it, I was saying, what is this sandbox? What is this tool all about? And the only way I'm going to learn how it works is by using it. And so when we went in the studio, first of all, the people there, fantastic. It took away all the hassle of worrying about tech. Client didn't like the chair that we had for him. Boom. Had another chair that did the trick, and he was much more comfortable and happy. So all of that was really nice, and I got to just be present and really in the moment and in with this human being and paying attention to his needs and really dancing with him. Really, you're a dance partner when you're trying to get someone to express themselves in an authentic, in a real way. I also realized how much. I've done recordings before. In different things. This was just a slightly different angle, though. It really helped me with pricing, because in studio productions, even if the hourly cost of the room and the studio isn't that high, everything else is extremely, I don't want to say tedious, but it's high cost. And so, again, knowing that intellectually and now receiving, 100 gigabytes worth of files, needing to manage those files in the cloud, the larger the files, the harder they are to work with. And then the editing process. So it's really helping me. Am I going to make a ton of money on this deal? No, I'll lose money on it. But what I'm going to gain is valuable knowledge from the beginning to the end of, okay, what's my experience with it? Where is the price point that makes this worth doing from a business standpoint? And so that's becoming really, really clear. I'm also really excited to play around with the content and see how much value we can create from essentially a 55-minute conversation. And I think we can create a lot of value. So, it's a reminder to do things, not mindlessly, but do them. And even if my experience led me to say, you know what, it does not make sense to do in-studio recordings. It only makes sense to do online recordings. That would be extremely valuable, worth every ounce of effort and money that it costs to do it. I'm not coming to that conclusion at all. I just think it's a very different beast, and I think it needs to be priced differently and essentially positioned and sold differently. But the main point here that I wake up this morning with is even more energy and vigor around that this is definitely the right track, and more learning. More learning is the key. You dive into the learning aspect of this. And I think that would be the biggest catalyst for faster and faster success. Learn from everyone and everything that I can along the way. So that's what alignment looks like. I talked about that yesterday. When you're in alignment and you're in alignment with your talents and your interests, you're starting off from a very high point. And so then it's just triple down on getting even better at the things you're already great at. Okay, so there's good to great, and then there's great to exceptional. Top of your game. And that's really what we're talking about here. And then the value of those services become really high, and then, the money no longer becomes an issue. All right. I'm going to leave it there. We are heading into the weekend. I hope you have a great, holiday weekend. That's essentially what it is. I know, you can kind of feel it out on the streets here anyway. Different energy as we get closer to Christmas and then New Year's after that. And I know there are other holidays as well. And I'm not ignoring those per se. I just, my family tradition, and I grew up celebrating Christmas. And so that's what's top of mind for me. But I know other people celebrate other things, and some people celebrate nothing. And that's fine too. So whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate, I hope you're just enjoying the vibes of the end of the year, which can be complicated, and they're not always all good, but it is a good time to reflect, hopefully rest if you can, and think about what your intention is for 2026. And I know that's where my mind is turning as I'm still working in the now. I am looking at, okay, what is the goal for 2026, and what's the vision for 2026? And the goal should serve the vision. Or the goals should serve the vision. So that's where I'm turning, but I can say I've got plenty of gratitude right now, and that's a good thing. All right, I'll leave it at there. Thank you for listening this week, and be good to yourself and others. Have a great weekend. We'll check back with you Monday. Bye-bye for now.